slowly here, the tablets and everything just all stopped.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Well, it amazed me, never mind anybody else.
Lee, welcome to the podcast. How are you doing? It's nice to see you today.
And to see you, James. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, for the listeners out there who can't see the backdrop behind us, we have palm trees, a glorious sun-filled beach, as we're looking at lockdown lifting here in Altingham. What a backdrop we have. I couldn't think of a better place to have a chat with you today. It's really wonderful. Speaking of which, we're in Altingham, this lovely place, and we're going to discover a little bit about you today. First things first, what brought you to the area? What brought you to Turkey and what brought you to Didim Altingham?
Right, firstly, it was to visit relations at their new property. And my health, which hadn't been good in England, seemed to improve on that visit. And it sparked my husband more than anything to move here, which he's not one to leave his homeland, but he could see the difference, and that was the real reason was my health.
Interesting. So, am I right in thinking, generally speaking, it's the sunshine and the heat that had the greatest impact?
Absolutely, and of course the air here. We have no big industry. You know, that's the big thing. You know, I couldn't walk any distance without linking my husband. I also had problems with arthritis. Slowly here, the tablets and everything just all stopped.
Incredible.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely. Well, it amazed me, never mind anybody else.
And what period of time did you really notice that? Was it straight away, or over a period of weeks or months, or even a year or two?
The funny thing is, within a week, I found that the joint pain had stopped within a week. It hadn't stopped, but everything was better, and I seemed to be able to walk a little bit better. And then once we moved here, within 3 months, every painkiller had stopped, and I was walking, going for walks.
And that was that looked very differently back home.
Oh,
right?
yes. I the car from off the drive, or there was no going off for walks at that stage. I'd done earlier, but it was difficult. If I went out somewhere to walk, it'd be once in a month. Here, it's every day.
That's incredible. I mean, speaking with many people about their reasons to live here and the draw, whether it's the beaches or often the sunshine, or a mix of everything, and it can't be any greater draw than the benefit of good health, right? And I mean, that's an incredible difference, really, to go from where you were to here. Home, there's a lovely soft Irish twang there. So from Ireland.
Yes, I am. But I lived in England with my English husband.
Right. Okay.
And moved here with him.
And how long ago was that? That you committed to the move?
We first of all bought about 15 years ago.
Okay.
And we also we'd already invested in a caravan to see if we could sort of take the different seasons here. So we during that time we came out winters, summers, autumn, to see if we could cope with it. And once we knew that this was the place for us, then, and that was it. We sold up.
And it was just this area. Did you look at others, or you were like, right, we've decided if we are going to do it, this is the area for us?
I didn't even want to come to Turkey because everything I'd seen in newspapers and on the television was the women walking 10 paces behind, the women carrying children and shopping, and very, very bad publicity for it.
Misinformed
Oh!
press. Misinformed media.
Misinformed. The choice to show what they chose.
Yes. It's, what I really love there is that, and I've read it on a number of forums. Even a couple of days ago, there was a couple asking about any advice. They're wanting to move out and what would be people's advice. And some of the really good advice was to come out and experience the different seasons, because we're coming into season into the summer, and some people, it's idyllic to many, but it's not the reality all year round. And so it sounds like you had a really kind of mature outlook on discovering and understanding what the different seasons might be if you're going to live here. Were you surprised at say like what a winter in Turkey looked like?
Well, when we came out for the winter just to try it, we thought, oh my goodness, this is phenomenal. We bought 2 little tiny heaters because it must have been the most, what should I say, the easiest, nicest, warmest winter, driest winter you've ever had. Because the following year, when we moved out, in the February, the winter hit us with a bang. And we couldn't get any form of heating because it was all sold out.
Right, yeah.
So that was a suffering winter, but we got through it.
So you were lulled into a false sense of security that first.
Absolutely.
They knew you were coming. They knew you were going to...
Convince her to stay was what it was saying. And but I say to anybody, I've said to people that say, oh, I'm looking at areas, sort of on Facebook. I don't know the people, but I always say, rent or, try before you buy.
Yeah.
Try the area, see if you like. We just fell in love with here. The first week we came to visit, we just fell in love with the place. And the people, we couldn't believe, there's men, totally different to what I've seen on the media. There's the men lugging the shopping and carrying the babies and doing things, and because our relation already knew some Turkish people, we realised that, they're very family orientated.
Very family orientated,
yeah,
indeed.
so it suited us wonderfully, because I'm Irish, which is very family orientated, and my husband, his people are Northern Ireland.
Right.
So, and we come from big families. So, whereas England is very small families, and we're with the unusual people.
Yeah, yeah. And where in England was it that you were
at
stationed?
At that time, we were in Tamworth in Staffordshire, which is in the Midlands.
Yeah, yeah.
We had lived in Birmingham, but my husband is one of 10.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Did
television.
Did he come over here to get away from the other lot? Was that the rabble?
No. We really close to all the family. Thank goodness.
And have you found that they've visited you over the years?
Over the years, most of them have come out. Some of them quite regular, and some of them not. Some of them had never come out, frightened to death of the sun and the things that I didn't. Not only the sun that you can't convince them of, but if we get back to England, we try and see them. But once we're here, we're here. It was a big step. It was a big step to leave our children, our grandchildren.
Were they supportive?
Oh, yes, they were. They were supportive. My daughter was a bit, but you're leaving. We've only just had,
Because there's always a reason to stay.
Oh, there's
always a reason to stay, and I hear predominantly if it's not children, it's the grandchildren, and that's you hear that's the biggest tie, either the biggest reason not to leave, but also you hear people that's the biggest thing they miss.
The thing I say to people, and I know it sounds harsh, and if my my daughter, my son, they all know that my son, they come out every year, but the hardest thing, is they'll say, oh, but the grandchildren, and I say, well, you've only got a few years, and they then will be off doing their own thing. I don't mean they'll be grown up, but they'll be going to school, and then there'll be the after school sports and the gym club and the tennis, and you will not have time with them. So have you a few years, but you know, you won't have time. Then they'll be old enough and they'll be out here visiting you because, wow, look where they're going to come to see Nan.
Yes.
You know.
And they'll always have this, won't they? You know,
absolutely.
they'll always remember.
That's absolutely.
Remember visiting out here.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, we could talk forever about all the glorious things here. We're both clearly fans. We both live here.
Yes,
but
we're both fans.
I think what's also important to understand, what were some of the challenges that you faced that maybe you may have expected or maybe didn't expect when you first got here?
I think we're very lucky with the people we've bumped into. We haven't had people that have tried to rip us off, or, you know, that is the big thing. Be careful. Don't trust immediately. Mm-hmm. You would not, which we know from friends it happened to, you know, you wouldn't hand £50,000 in a carrier bag over to somebody in a bar.
You're more than welcome to do that with me, Lee.
But I'll be people. Absolutely.
Yeah. that black carrier bag of £50,000 would be very safe with me, I promise.
But that sort of thing has happened. I don't know if it still does, but it has happened. We were very wary about things like that, as we knew people had done that. Be always vigilant about what you're doing. You know, think, would I do that back in England? The answer is no, don't.
Yeah.
We found it hard at times setting up bank accounts and doing for the first time, you know, your electric and changing your names, and there's such a lot of places you've got to go, and your paperwork, and you know, and obviously our first time getting our residency was a big thing. You had to go to Iden, you had to go there and pay money here into that bank, you had to go there. It was a long, things are very they're not, well, it's wrong to say slow, but there's a lot involved in everything you do here.
Yeah.
It's not, oh yes, you want that? Yeah, fine. I'll just type up the paperwork, sign at the bottom of the line. It isn't like that.
Mm-hmm. Have you noticed,
you know,
in that respect, have you noticed a big difference over the last 15 years with systems? I mean, you spoke there, you used to have to go to Iden, which is what, an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes away?
Yeah.
Whereas now you can get your residency here in Didim Altinkham. Have you noticed that that's been the case with a number of other
yes.
kind of chores?
Yes. Now the banks are so with it. It's so different. The banks, you can walk in there, you know, I'm talking English speaking people, you can walk in there, someone, if you've got a problem, they can sort you out like that. It wasn't like that. You know, you have to make an appointment with a certain banker, and you have to sit there and write. But no, obviously, they're getting there.
Yeah.
They're getting there. The one thing that is even, to me, is better than in England is if you have a problem health-wise, you know, you can see a doctor immediately. You've got a problem, yes, go to the hospital. You need a blood test or you need an x-ray. You go and get that done. You sit and wait and you will get your results on that day. Now, that doesn't happen in England. And they show you the x-ray and they talk to you about what they're seeing on the x-ray. That doesn't happen in England. And for that, they're way ahead, in my opinion.
It's amazing to hear, because I think that is a misconception that, I mean, I can speak, my mum, she had a really bad ear infection here one year, and just, I need to go home, it's that bad. And it wasn't until my auntie, who was staying with, said, well, no, the hospital's really good here. And so my mum trusted it and was blown away how quick, like you said, how quick the level of care there. I put on a forum yesterday on one of the Facebook forums asking about what clinic to visit. I think it was for just a blood test, and the list of places that came up, and it ended up that the one at the end of the road is one of the best ones. So it's like, I just have to walk 5 minutes to the end of my road. You know, whereas you're thinking it'll be out of town, or it might be just a special one. And the list that people came back, and everybody's so willing to help. The thing with online nowadays, the forums, there's so much support there, which I dare say was very different 15 years ago. You know, you couldn't get on Facebook or one of the social media platforms and ask where's the best place to get dental work or see a doctor, or who's the best bank manager or the best bank account. So it's all there in instant, and I do find that the community here is really responsive and really supportive. That's so good. What's your experiences of the expat, the English community, the foreign community here?
The foreign community, absolutely great. But what the foreign community don't realise, if you ask for help, even for, get somebody, even if you have to do Google Translate, if you ask for help from a Turkish person, they're delighted to help you. They think they've scored, you know what I mean? Well, I'll show them what to do. And that's the thing. Yes, we get great support. I mean, I'm a member of a big group, so I have obviously the support I need. But during our lockdowns, it wasn't just the expat community that were shouting up, do you need anything from the all right, even those that only speak a little bit of Turkish, the people around us that we don't see for I don't know how long, they were there offering help. It was amazing. And I don't mean the authorities, yes they did, but I mean the expats, yes, they help each other if they can. Absolutely, because they feel secure with another expat. I think that's the best way to put it. But I do tell them over and over, and I have said on television, on media here, I've said couldn't get better than the sort of help we've had from the Turkish people as well.
Turkish neighbours? Have you got some Turkish neighbours around?
Oh yeah.
Do you get the plates of baking goods?
Oh dear, my goodness, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And all you've got to do, when people don't understand about, you can't send the plate back empty. You've got to put something on it. What you do is you give the plate back, and then a day, or whatever, empty, but then that day or the afternoon, you bring something in a bag that they don't have to then re-have the plate.
Is that right?
Yes.
These are good tips and tricks for me. I didn't know these.
Yes.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. So you give them their plate empty, and then you just give them a bag of something. Or later that day, they may think, oh, odd, empty plate, but then later that day or the next morning, you drop them a little bag of something. And that way then the plate doesn't keep travelling at a great pace.
Nice.
But they're lovely. I mean, we're in a block. There's only two other English people owning that block. But they're only holiday rentals, and anybody else that owns is all Turkish. But we have absolutely no problem with them. They don't live here all the year round. Some do, some don't.
Right. Okay.
But absolutely no problem. Some lovely people. We're
Fantastic.
very lucky.
Well, you touched on there that you're a member of a group, and am I right in thinking it's a very dramatic group?
It is indeed. It's called the Didim Glee Club.
The Didim Glee Club.
Yes.
Is that a lot of hands left and right and dancing around, and or is it more operatic? What does that look like?
Well, it started off as a bit of everything, because Glee in the business was a Glee club. Teachers or people go to a Glee club to learn dance, song, drama, the whole works. But ours developed into a drama group. Yes, there might be dancing, on stage when we're doing things. A drama group that does plays like murder mysteries. We've got them going the end of this month, 28th, 29th and 30th, just plug it there. A murder mystery. That's a murder mystery supper. Great. And we do pantomimes at a big theatre. There's a big theatre here in Didim. People don't realise.
Really?
Yes. It's belonging to the Chamber of Commerce. It's next door to the Chamber of Commerce building, and it's called Ticaret Odesse. That's, their room, the room of. It's a beautiful about 310 seats, 2 dressing rooms, lighting,
and
sound box.
Chamber of Commerce, is that where you get your residency sorted out?
No. Chamber of Commerce is, do you know where, oh goodness, now me trying to explain, the place that used to be a little kipper on the corner, do you know, you go down by the bank there?
Yeah.
Right opposite, it's a building. It's got a wavy sort of roof with a red stripe on it, and that is a theatre. And there's people have lived here years, Never knew it existed.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a theatre in Didim. No.
It's super. I mean, they have everything. People don't realise, and it is wonderful. And because we're totally a charitable group, and we all our money goes to schools and the help of children, and that's mainly the thing. Schools. We are of the people, doing for the people. So the Kai McCann, thank goodness, we have his logo and he signs off, and we do not pay for the use of that theatre.
Fantastic.
The first time we didn't realise all this, and the first time we used it, Ergen Ross from Topkapi Restaurant, him and his friends paid for the theatre for us, and then he got us to meet up with the Kai McCann, and from there, each Kai McCann we go and see, and he comes on board and signs us away, so.
That's fantastic. Well, how important is it for you, and would you recommend it? It's important for people to have such a purpose out here living abroad, because it's probably something I've mentioned on every podcast, is that it can be too easy to be in the holiday mentality, and it's not sustainable. Every
That's
day,
right.
although every day feels like holiday when the sun's shining and stuff, you can't essentially do what you do on a 2-week holiday every day of the year. I mean, you could try, but I would challenge anyone to continue that without some interesting repercussions. But how important is it to have such a purpose and structure in your day?
I think it's very important. You come here first, and the excitement of being in your holiday destination, as you say, is great. And then suddenly there's lots and lots of hours, and you've been a busy person. You've either worked and had different hobbies, whatever, and then all of a sudden you've got all this time. Then you must then, unfortunately, someone is not going to knock on your door and say, come with me. You've got to try and get out there, get on the social media, or just ask around. There's so much to do. I mean, our drama group is nearly 40 strong.
Oh, wow.
And that includes people that just do makeup, people that just do on the doors for us. We've got our own writer. Everything is written by Jenny Scott. Everything. Fantastic. So there's a lot of people can get involved without going on stage.
Interesting, yeah.
There's a lot of things, but there's other things to do. There's a bowling group, like Crown Green bowling group.
Yeah.
There's a bowling group here in Didim.
I am partial to to a game of bowls, I've got to admit.
Dear, they've been going years. So but you've got to ask.
You've got to be proactive and reach out, haven't you?
There's
it is
darts,
there. Yeah.
walking groups, plugging groups. There's so much, and there's obviously charity work. There's other sort of charity work. But there is a lot to occupy you, but you've got to be proactive.
Yes, I fully agree with that, and I do experience that with people as well. I know people who move here, and they've said for the first 3 months, they do treat it like a 2-week holiday.
Absolutely.
And then they either get bored or burnt out, and they think it's important to do something that's got value to it.
Absolutely.
In a community form, and it's often giving back or raising funds for. I know the animal shelter is huge and is heavily linked within the community here. I'm very proud that I volunteered and connected with that community over there. So there is a lot going on. People can come here, and it is a holiday resort essentially in Altrincham.
Absolutely.
But it's very different outside of that tourist season, isn't it?
That's right.
There's especially early spring and going into the late autumn. I mean, what's your favourite season here, Lee, and why?
My favourite season, I think, is probably, I have a favourite month, which is ridiculous.
Oh, right.
Which is September.
Okay,
I think that's
is that because the superheat is just dying down and the number of tourists are just leaving, although there's still people here? Am I close?
That you are absolutely nearly smack on. The sea is absolutely beautiful to swim in. It's just the craziness has calmed down, but there's still lovely hustle and bustle. Still, it's still alive, so alive. And the weather, yes, you'll get a storm, but the weather's still great. And people, for me anyway, the drama group is just going to start up again.
Is that the time of year?
Yes,
oh, right.
September.
Nice.
And the excitement, all the group are, when are we getting together? When are we starting? When do we leave? What's happening? And that's it. The excitement starts. And it starts for the bowling, the same excitement. Oh, are we start? No, we won't. We'll leave it till Friday, and
It's fun. I was talking with some friends, some new friends actually that I've met in the last week on the front, and they mentioned they were just getting the darts club cleaned up. I was like, "There's a darts club. There's a dart. Oh yeah, we've got teams and we go around and play." And again, I was like, I'm partial to a game of darts as well. So, I mean, I've been here 2.5 years or so now, and still you're finding these things out.
And in the darts club, they've got their own premises. It's a basement premises at Yazin's.
Yes.
And it's all fitted out, and they have games nights, and there's other things happen there. There's dances, a dance for Shirok dancing. There's so much. There is so much here, but you have to find it.
Yes.
Keep asking, keep talking to them.
I think following this podcast, the problem you're going to have is people are going to be hunting you down to get a fast track on what's going on around here. Talk to me about, if you give us a bit of insight into what's your if you think of your favourite 3 places to maybe have a glass of wine or a cold beer, a cold refreshment. And a bite to eat. Where are those? If you had 3 places, what are your favourite places? Well,
obviously my first place I'm going to say, because of not only because of his support, but there's super people there, and that is Topkapi if you want the front.
Right. Yeah.
Just barely off the front is Dai.
My favourite bar.
Oh,
it's my favourite bar. Yes.
They're lovely there. Who'd be my third? Probably where I was yesterday, and that was Big Nose Bar on the back street.
Yeah, okay, on the back.
Yeah,
I'm curious because I've bought. They have like a sale. Under normal circumstances, they kind of have a sale where they'll be selling pasties and chutneys and things
every week.
And I've never actually gone there myself. And it isn't as obvious because it's on the. You'd say it's on the wrong side of the street. The other side of the street is on the front of the beach. So they're 2 very different views.
Yeah. Oh, they're not on. They're behind the seafront.
And
if you know what I mean.
So what is it about a bar like that? Because everybody has a bar like that. That's maybe not as obvious. And what is it about to you that...
It's very relaxing.
Right.
It's very relaxing. It's very nice. You walk away from the hustle and bustle and they're there. And they're lovely people. And they were so good. Denise and Imam, her husband, of 20 odd years, God knows how long they've been together, they were absolutely amazing during the lockdown. I mean, Imam was getting my phone topped up, paying he was amazing, just amazing. And when we do our shows, they always donate, prizes, raffle prizes for our shows, and the support, and that's what you love about people. They, but they're a lovely couple.
I find it that kind of that connectivity with bars and restaurants and the owners, it does feel very much 30 years ago, 40, 50 years ago in the UK, where you'd have the pub landlord or landlady, and that was the kind of glue that connected it, kept everybody together, and you would go because it was that family and that support, and you'd raise money for them and vice versa. And that does feel that it's the case here, where I think it seems in the UK they've lost that over the years.
Well, in other places, the Queen's, Billy at the Queen's, I mean, he would do anything for you know, but there's such a lot of them there. And food wise, you say about food, yes, I can start letting about food, but there is it's very unusual to go here and say, oh, I can't eat that, it's a bad meal. No, that's happened to me in England, and it has happened here, but slowly they've learned that they've got to look after that one customer, because they could bring in 2 next time and 3, and the food is, It may not be exactly what you thought it was going to be, but most certainly a nice, but the food in those 3 places is lovely.
I've been coming out here since 1997, I think it's been, and then the following, the second visit was 2008, and I think still in 2008 what was noticeable was the dishes were unimaginative, and you'd get your meat in one line, your rice and your chips in another. And I remember I think it was Cafe. Do you remember Cafe More on the Boulevard? And I think it was one time we ordered a burger and it came on on a wooden chopping board.
That's right.
And I remember thinking, right, it's starting to they're starting to think about things now. And I think there was a really big shift from about 2008 to 2012. And then it started catching on, and they were being more creative and inventive with the types of dishes. And I think the food's here phenomenal. And I'm pleased we've got onto food because we're going to wrap up. And my kind of final thing, I'm always curious in my final kind of question is, what's your favourite Turkish dish and why?
Oh my goodness!
So what's your go-to?
Oh, dear me! I've got to say, by choice, is. What's it called? Oh, I can't. As they'd say, an ultim, I've forgotten. They do it in a big stew pot and take the.
So it's the.
I can't.
It's a certain type of. They call it a kebab, don't they? A certain type of kebab.
No, it's not. It's
where they knock the top off.
That's it. That's the one. And I can't think.
Oh,
and
I've had it. I've had it a number of times.
And it is, and they put side of, that lovely.
So where people in the comments section will
Please.
be like, "I'll be having our lives for this," and we've got to hold our hands up. It's inexcusable, isn't it? Not doing that because they put the flame on, and they often knock the top off and then empty it all out. And
that's right.
And it's like a stew pot, really, isn't it?
It is.
Full of peppers and meats and.
But the taste stays with you for so long, and I've got to say, although I don't have it that often, it is my favourite.
Well, Lee, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. I'm going to want to direct people to your group, to your drama group. Where can people find you? What's the name of the group, and where can it be directed?
We are the Didim Glee Club.
The Didim Glee Club.
Right. We normally you would have rehearsed at Topkapi, but if they want to contact me in any way or any of the group, they will find us on Facebook, Didim Glee Club, or if they ask for a number, I won't give out my phone numbers here, but if they go to Topkapi, they will all know me, they will all take a name, take a number, and I will contact them, or member of our group will.
Fantastic. I did play a few characters in my junior school here, King Herod, and I'm from East Yorkshire, Hull, and it was City of Culture 2017, and before I moved to Turkey, I played King Herod in the City of Culture play right through the city with thousands of people. So I've had my moments. So feel free to give me a shout. It might be some lawn bowls and some drama classes following this podcast. But I can't thank you enough. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, Lee.
You're
and it seems like you're doing some amazing things here. So I wish you all the best in continuing with that. So thank you.
You're more than welcome. And I will say, my last bit will say that normally I do workshops once a year, and I'd love to have you. I will let you know when my next one on, and I'll have you join us. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure. Cheers.
Thank you.